Oh my gosh. It has been a weird week.
It has been, yeah.
As you can tell by our last podcast. I hope that's the only podcast we have to record that kind of way.
That's not, yeah, where I'm constantly
Because I did not enjoy that. It may have seemed like I enjoyed that experience. I don't know why it would have seemed that way, but I definitely did not.
Yeah, that's just... She was stripping in the front yard and, right? Yeah, the skates are off.
Not fun.
Yeah.
It's not a good show. For anyone who was wondering. I don't remember if I answered that question.
I think you did. Yeah, you started talking about raisins.
Oh, yeah. Then I probably answered that question. Yeah, but so far, since then, we've only had 2 other instances here at my house, which,
Only 2.
is still bad, but not as bad as someone in my front door trying to break into my house. It was more like someone trying to deal drugs near the front of my house. And that one I was more okay with. And then someone trying to break into our car, but we didn't end up finding them. So sadly we couldn't confront them the same way we've confronted the last couple of criminals at our house. Mm-hmm. And then since Saturday, and it is now Wednesday, nothing has happened.
Oh.
It's been a streak of good luck. Hopefully it continues.
When nothing bad happens, it's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what makes good things.
That's what I've learned.
But anyways, from the last podcast you got, you regaled us with the story of what was happening while we were recording it.
Yes.
But you did allude to some events that preceded that.
Yes.
Yes. So... Do you want to lay out that story? Because that's the juicy one.
Yeah, that's the one with a lot of the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
That's my new favorite expression. I'm going to use it a lot. All right, so basically on, I believe it was Monday night, so about 2 weeks ago now, I just came home from work at about, 8 o'clock. I saw there was like a light on upstairs, which was a little weird to me, but not that weird. And then my family came home from the lake, and then we just sort of hung out. I played ping pong with my sister, and then we all went to bed. And then at about 4-ish in the morning, I heard my mom screaming in the front yard. And when I first woke up, I knew my sister and her friends had been swimming out there from about 12:30 at night, and when I woke up, I thought I just woke up to them playing, because it was still dark outside. I was like, oh, it's probably just 1 or 2 in the morning. I checked my phone, I saw it was 4. I was like, there's no way they're swimming for almost 4 hours. And also, when my mom is screaming, expletives at this lady, that's not my sister. Yeah. So I just kind of ran straight outside, and I knew that in the kitchen of our house, my dad has a golf club. He likes to do practice shots. And so I just kind of, he doesn't actually hit the ball. He just kind of swings in the house to sort of get his swing down. That's a whole boring golf thing, so we won't talk about that. Anyway, I knew there was a golf club there, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to run, grab that, and then run wherever I need to after that. So I ran straight to that point, and then I see my mom is holding this lady back from walking into our house. So I grabbed the club, and I'm ready to hit her, and it just took me a second to study what was going on here, because I was really drowsy for the first part, because it's 4 in the morning. And the other part, it's I'm running on full adrenaline, and then also the lady's wearing my Bart Simpson t-shirt and my sister's ripped jeans, and that was just so weird to me.
Did they fit?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, the shirt was a little big, but the jeans really did fit her, which was really weird because my sister's very small.
Yeah, that's
she is
surprising.
a toothpick. So maybe they were squeezed in. I don't really remember, but all I know is she was not wearing her clothes. She was wearing our clothes, and she was also carrying a huge bag on her left arm that was full of 2 pillows and a couple of blankets. And then she had 2 smaller bags on her right arm. One was my bag from Mexico that my mom had gotten me. And the other was a black bag that could have been my black bag or maybe just her own bag. And I kept studying, looking at this. This was all going through my head probably 10 seconds, but it felt literally just 30 minutes of me sitting there studying this.
Yeah.
Hearing my mom yell and looking at this lady being do we know her? Is she just really drunk? Is something going on? And then eventually it hit me like, no, this is an intruder. So
the intruder.
Yes, this is the person who has been in my house now.
Yeah.
So my mom ends up throwing her up against the wall. Well, not really throwing, more like grabbing her other wrist, because she was holding her by the wrist at first, and she shoves her up against the wall, and she starts yelling at her like, what the were you doing in my house? And that whole sort of thing, like very loud. And I was just like, oh, and I keep holding that golf club up. Then I hear my dad coming down the stairs, kind of like putting his pants on because he had fallen asleep and he's just woken up. And he comes downstairs, and then my mom thought she heard the intruder yelling for another person. So my mom thought that there was someone else in the house.
Yeah.
She yells at my dad to go get his gun. So he runs back upstairs, gets his gun, and he starts like clearing the house. Meanwhile, I finally realize like, oh, I should call the police. So I dial 911. I'm on phone with 911 saying that there is someone currently in my house. There may be a second person in my house, and we needed, officers there ASAP.
Yeah.
And then finally our neighbor, who eventually I learned called my mom to wake her up. I'll do a little backstory. So he runs over. And I guess the reasoning that all of this is sort of happening is he had seen her inside of our house because she had just tried to break into his house. So she tried to break in through this false door that it's not actually a door, it's just always locked, and there's a cabinet blocking it. So he's like, there's no way that anyone who knows anything about us is trying to get inside that door. So he kind of looks through the window, sees that there's this weird person, and so he's trying to call us about like 4 or 5 times. Finally, my mom picks up while she's in our kitchen.
And this is still like 4 a.m.
No, this is now flashback at 4 a.m.
Okay.
This is what's going on at 4 a.m. And then that's when my mom ran downstairs. They said first she was in the garage. So my mom runs to the garage, sees that there's no one there. Then she runs back into sort of the living room area, sees that she's out by our pool in our backyard.
But the whole time, right, he's giving her like...
Yeah, she's kind of like,
now they're in the living room.
No, now they're over here, and now they're here. So then finally my mom hangs up the phone, kind of like throws it in the living room, I imagine. And then just sees this lady with a bunch of bags, and she starts yelling at her like, what do you think you're doing? And that's probably when I first woke up. And then my mom sees that her hands are pretty full. She grabs the lady by the hands and then yanks her towards our house. And then by the time I got out there, she was just trying to walk into our house, sort of zombie style, very Walking Dead-esque.
Oh.
She wasn't trying to sprint into our house. She wasn't trying to sprint away from my mom. She was trying to just sort of slowly walk like she had been there before, like she definitely belonged in our house. And that's why it was so weird to me. It wasn't like this was a weird intruder. This was just someone who seemed like they thought they belonged here. Anyway, now at this point, the guy who had called us is now run over into our backyard, sort of pushes the lady down onto the ground, telling her like, hey, what do you think you were doing in these nice people's houses? That's how he phrased it. And that was hilarious to me. I was on the phone with the 911 operator kind of laughing just because it's like, what?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's very flattering, but also like, whatever. So there's like bad cop and badder cop sitting there. He's got like a big old pocket knife sitting in his hand, like yelling at her because he thought, maybe he would have to like, stab her or whatever to get her off my mom. And like I had thought that I would have to hit her with a golf club to get her off my mom. But we both realized pretty much instantly, my mom is a very strong woman. We have known this before, but when we saw that this other lady was very weak, we didn't need to do anything to intervene to hurt anyone because she had her under control. Then about 5 minutes after, which literally, like again, felt like an eternity, the cops come up to our front gate. They open it themselves, which I don't know how they did, but that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because like I was talking to the 911 operator, like, oh, do I need to open the gate? And they're like, no, don't worry, we've got someone on it. And they, there goes my gate. I was like, what? Then I ended up hanging up with her. I open our front door. I see that my dad has finally set his gun down on our front sort of chairs out on our porch. That's the word I was looking for. Because he didn't want to go and talk to the cops shirtless and with a gun. Yeah. Because that makes him seem like the other person in the house. So they run in about 20 seconds. They were through the front door, found the lady, grabbed her, literally just picked her up and walked her out to their cars, which were about probably like 30 feet away from even like the front gate. So they literally like walked her out our front door, out across our lawn, and then up the hill, and then in their car. And then she was gone. And then we finally got to sort of piece together the story. which is significantly worse than what I just explained.
Yeah, well, because you said you got home at 8 and saw a light on?
Yeah, well, I learned, because originally I thought, after we pieced everything together, I was like, wow, she could have been in here for about 8 hours. And then we realized she actually started the night off breaking into our farthest neighbor's house, like way down the way. Because I don't live in a very big neighborhood, but it is a very out-of-the-way area, so each house is probably like, there's probably a mile each, or not a mile, but, there's a good distance, probably 100 yards for each house. So about 800 yards away, she broke into our furthest neighbor's house and tied his door open and kind of started to stack up the belongings that she wanted, like iPads and stuff like that. And then he walks outside and sees, his stuff, and then he kind of saw some people running away. And then he didn't end up calling the cops or anything like that. Never called the neighbors saying like, hey, I just had someone break into my house.
That's really weird.
Yeah. So that happened. And then that was at about, I think, 8 o'clock. And then at about 10 o'clock, our other neighbor, which is about probably 600 yards away. So they skipped over one house and now they're at another house. He goes and like hears someone in his house. He looks into his hallway, turns the light on, sees that there's someone in his house. That someone is the person who broke into our house, and she says to the guy who owns the house, "What are you doing here?" And then he goes, "No, what are you doing here in my house?"
Yeah.
And he ends up kicking her out, and he heard her talk to another person, which could mean that there was another person in her house, and that person, apparently, it was a lady's name that he recalled, and that lady could have been the lady that tried to break into this house here on the day we were recording the podcast.
The last podcast,
yeah. Anyway, then at about 12:30, my sister, she's swimming, and at about 12:40, they're looking for her friend's phone, and they give her friend's phone a call, and it goes to voicemail the first time, and then they're looking around, so then they call it again, and then someone answers it, and they kind of hear themselves talking, and then someone hangs up, and then my sister never went to go see if my parents had found the phone, if I had found the phone, and they were just kind of like, that is spooky.
Yeah, that's really spooky.
Which is really spooky, but also like I would think like, oh, maybe just one of the people else that I know is in the house answered the phone. She didn't ever do that. If she would have done that, then we would have realized like, oh crap, there's someone else inside of her house right now. Anyway, and then so that means she had been in our house since about 12:40 at night. Definitely earlier at that point, and that was about the time where I finished up playing ping pong, and then I went and locked all the doors. So she was locked into our house, and then after the police had come, we started piecing all of this together, and I'm like, whoa, that's 4 hours. How did we not see her? Turns out she was in our upstairs, where my sister has her dolls. She has all of her makeup, stuff like that, a lot of toys from when we were kids. And she had taken one of my sister's makeup boxes that she had gotten pre-done and everything. Like, it's one of those boxes you just open it up and there's like foundation or whatever. I don't know much about makeup. But she had taken the pre-done stuff out, kind of broke the box a little bit, then started putting her own things that she had handpicked into that box. And applied makeup, did her nails, did her, did like lipstick. Actually, she may not have done lipstick. I think she didn't do lipstick. But she did her eyes and everything. She did full makeup.
Keep it classy.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to rob a house, you're going to keep it classy. Then she writes a note on her whiteboard up there. Thanks for the box of things. And then she signs her real name, Ruby. And then goes and must have gone into our laundry room because we found stuff from our laundry room. Found a lot of stuff from our kitchen that we had in there. And I had thousands of dollars of camera equipment sitting there. I had... my mom had her purse sitting there, and she was about to go on a trip, so she had like $1,000 in cash there, ready to further her trip. And she didn't take any of that. She went through my dad's money clip that had a bunch of credit cards, a lot with no name on them, just business. And she took 2 of my dad's personal credit cards that had his name on them. And then she took a $100 bill that was attached to a Macy's bill that my mom had to pay for her Macy's credit card. And then she also took about $25 or so from my dad's money clip that also had about $500 in it.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, and then she took a bunch of other miscellaneous things, like the instruction guide for our TV remote, which is, out of all the things to steal, why?
Maybe she has the same one.
Yeah, maybe she has the same remote, and she's like, there are so many features. What is this recall button? I can click this, and it takes me to the channel I was just at?
Yeah.
Whoa! No, but she just took a lot of weird things like that. She did end up taking that iPhone. She had it in a box, and she had another she had 2 other smartphones with her that were not ours, so they were hers. She had some drugs on her. She had a pipe to smoke those drugs. And I think it was mostly marijuana, but then there was another packet. It was a blue packet of like crystals or something. Instantly made me think of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And I was like, whoa, is there actually blue meth? The police didn't say anything about that, so I don't know if that was also drugs or if that was just other medication, something like that, or if I was just tired and imagining the whole entire thing. Well, but
according to Vince Gilligan, creator of Breaking Bad, did I get that name right? Pretty
yes.
sure I did, yes. When asked, is there such a thing as blue meth, his response is, there is now. So, yeah, so that it very well could have been.
Someone was just a huge fan.
Yeah.
It is a really good show, though. But, I mean, then we saw that she had taken, it was mostly makeup, she had taken our clothes, and then she took bags of pasta. So she was definitely a fan of pasta, which is great. We threw those away. And she took some artichoke dip and some pita chips, and we threw all those away because I didn't want to eat after her.
Yeah, okay.
And, I mean, it was just such weird... And there were other weird things. I can't think of everything now. There was she took some rocks. There was a lot of jewelry that she could have taken that was valuable, but she took a shell necklace from the Dollar Tree. All kinds of weird things like that. And it was just so weird to wake up and have that... Just those things stolen out of all of those other things that could have been legitimate. Like, you could have turned all of that for money, or you had the chance to just take thousands of dollars. So it wasn't like she was a druggie trying to get enough stuff to get her fix.
Yeah.
It was like she was just taking stuff that she liked. Like, she took my sketchbook. She took two markers, 2 professional markers, because I've got these really nice like Copic art markers and stuff like that. Uh-huh. And she took a turquoise and a purple one. And I had my entire bag sitting there with all of them. And I had another professional color she just took 2 colors that she liked.
That's weird.
She took trumpet sheet music and piano sheet music, and that was pretty much it out of all the stuff she took. Like, other than that, it was like.
Did she steal your piano too?
No, that was the weird thing too. Yeah. We had this little like personal piano now, but it was just so weird. I've never. Scariest thing that's probably ever happened to me in my life was that right there.
Yeah, no, I mean, having somebody lurk around your house for 4 hours while everyone is in bed, that's terrifying. That's it.
And then she did, most important part that really makes it seem disturbing. Not only did she play with those dolls upstairs, but while my sister was asleep with her 2 friends, she went into my sister's room, took her pants and a pair of her shorts, while she was sleeping. So she went into there while they were asleep and took from her and watched her sleep and then went out.
Yeah, that's really...
and she did end up, she was changed into those clothes. Yeah. So she could have changed in my sister's room.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
And that is all terrifying.
Yeah, really.
And really unsettling. And it definitely hit my sister harder than it hit anyone else for that reason. Yeah. But that's very understandable, of course. But yeah, that was a little bit more eventful than what happened last podcast.
Yeah. Well, there was... I mean, I can't imagine what your mom was like. 4 a.m, she gets up, goes down, and picks up the phone to the response that, there's somebody in your house.
Yeah, I know. That's something that comes straight out of a movie. You don't hear those. That's like a horror movie scenario right there.
Seriously.
I can't believe... And then she was just running on full adrenaline at that point. She didn't really think, reasonably, that maybe this person has a knife or anything. It turned out she did. He was on a table about 10 feet away. She was probably backing up, walking to that knife when my mom yelled at her. So my mom got very, very lucky. Yeah. And honestly, that move it could have been stupid, but she did end up safe. So, I mean, I can't thank her enough for being the most Banff mom ever. Jeez.
Seriously.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
That's some scary stuff. And so after that, it was followed by just a few days after what happened at the recording of the last podcast, right?
Yes.
And then since then, there was the drug deal you stopped and the car break-in.
Yes.
So 4 things in the course of just a few weeks.
About 5 days. About 5 days.
Oh my gosh.
4 of those 5 days, we had something go on.
That's insane.
And I was I guess it was 6 days, because it was Saturday night, not Friday night. But 6 days, 4 of the 6. So there were 2 days where we were safe.
Yeah.
That's pretty not okay with me.
Yeah, really. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Like all of it happened at the same time too. And you'd never had any problems before, right?
Never any problems. Lived here for about 15 years and nothing.
Yeah.
Ever. No break-ins. Our neighbors had 2 break-ins once, but never while they were home. And everything so far has been while we were home. Even the break-in with my dad's car. I had just gotten home from work at about 10:30, and my parents were out swimming in the pool, and my mom saw, because my dad parked on the side of our house, so because the garage was kind of full. My mom looks over, sees that there's someone walking up towards my dad's truck, and she's like, "What?" So she meets me at the door saying like, "Hey, did you walk over there by your dad's truck?" And I was like, "No, I just came in through the garage." So she ends up like grabbing our flashlight, stun gun, taser thing that I ended up handing to you guys when someone broke it. When the last person broke it in the last podcast, and she just starts yelling, trying to find it. I grab my stun gun, and we're both like yelling, trying to find this person. And we never found him, but it's just kind of insane.
Could you tell that there was any tampering with the car, or was it?
There was no tampering with the car. It was all locked, so they didn't really try to do anything other than like. I think they literally just walked out, tried to open the door, and then like walked away.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, "Oh well,
yeah, that's really
this wasn't
weird.
as easy as I thought it was."
That's kind of what'll happen though. Like if somebody's looking to break into a car, unless they're trying to steal the car itself, they just look around for open doors.
Yeah.
Like I was at work one time and I was driving my sister's car and I did not lock it. And it got broken into, and karma got to me because the only thing that was stolen was my Bluetooth speaker. But yeah, just because I didn't lock it, that's what happened there.
Yeah.
But
it seems like a lot of the things, because none of the so far, even when that house or when the house on Wednesday was broken into, she never made it inside, and I think she was actually even like probably going to walk away afterwards just because it was all locked up. She wasn't trying to really like shatter a window or anything and set off any alarms. It was literally, if the door's open, then she would have gone in, but since it wasn't open, she didn't try.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that's kind of like with that whole drugged out mentality, that's probably what you're gonna get, is people that are not going to forcefully break in unless their intent is to hurt someone. Then they're just going to be like, well, it's locked, I'll just leave.
Yeah.
So lock your doors. Message of the day from your friends here at Another New Voice Show. Lock your doors whenever you're not home, or even if you are home, still lock your doors, or some crazy lady might try on your makeup.
Is our door still locked right here?
No, it's open right now.
Oh crap!
I'd better. Well, come on,
I'm getting under the desk right now
for the views.
Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's now been it's Wednesday now, and nothing since Saturday. So that's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We've had almost 4 days now without anything happening.
4 days of peace.
Yeah.
The longest peacetime in recorded history.
In recorded 6 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice.
All right.
Felt less scared of my house.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not good.
Yeah. So that's what I've been up to this week. What have you been up to since we last recorded? Since you last recorded, because I wasn't really a part of the last one.
Exactly. What have I been up to? I went out to go on a camping bike ride trip.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun.
Where?
It's this very small town. I don't know if anybody would recognize it who's listening. It's called Fall River Mills.
Oh, I love Fall River.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you've been. It's a gorgeous place.
It's so pretty.
Yeah. We stayed in a town over for the campsite, and then I went with my dad. I biked 25 miles. He did 65.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was crazy. But then one of our friends that was up there, after I finished, we rode the first 19 miles together because that was what the course was. Mm-hmm. And then he left to finish the ride and took the sunscreen with him. And then I finished my ride, and then went over to a friend of ours who said I should go kayaking with her. But when I got to where she was staying, she had left like an hour and a half before me.
Oh.
But she left a kayak for me on the deck for the river. And so I paddled up the river because it's so calm. I probably paddled about 1.5 miles upstream. Yeah, and then I just floated back. It was very pristine. The mountains everywhere. The wildflowers were gorgeous. Oh my gosh, yeah. It reminded me of a Miyazaki movie. Like that's what it looked like. Just that pristine kind of countryside. But I floated down the river and had trouble staying awake. I was gonna fall asleep, and
Yeah.
I was afraid that if I fell asleep, one, I would miss my stop, and two, I would get cooked in the sun. I did not miss my stop, but I also got burnt very badly. I still have heat rash on the insides of my elbows, which it's not like dangerous or anything. It just itches really bad.
That's no fun.
Yeah. And then since then, I haven't done a whole lot. I've been just hanging out.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was my weekend.
Easy going.
Yeah, very much more tranquil than yours was.
Yeah, I know. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love Fall River. It's such a nice town. Like,
it is.
It's like you were saying. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's no part of that town that doesn't look just amazing. Like, have you ever seen like the Fall River Hotel? That's kind of in the middle of downtown. It's so gorgeous.
We eat at the hotel every year.
Nice.
Like we always go there for one meal, and then past years we've had like, because it's usually a pretty big event around just the family circle. So family members will go, and then family members will bring their friends, and then so it's kind of like, it's weird. It's like I've made this community of people that I see there whenever I go, like for that bike ride, but none of them live there. So yeah, but a lot of people will stay in the hotel. So that's like a hangout spot a lot of the time.
I've never stayed there, but
I've never stayed in a hotel.
Yeah. Cool place.
I've napped in one of the rooms, but I was not paying for it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice freeloader.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, there are the. I don't know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like the juxtaposition for my weekend.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kind of is.
Yeah. No. I mean, I was just like. On the river, I was just like, man, this is great. I'm having a great time, and you were here just like having a stress. Like,
I've now got bats in all of our rooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess yesterday I did end up going out to the lake. We did some wake surfing and stuff like that, which was really fun until we started tubing, and then I got some horrible whiplash and a nice blister on my hand.
Yeah, that I did. You were talking about the blister. I did get a blister on my thumb from paddling right there.
That's no fun.
But the water was so cold, like it's just snow melt. It's essentially ice water, and so I just like stuck my hand in the water, and I was like, "This feels fantastic."
There we go.
Yeah,
problem solved.
Problem solved.
Yeah, the lake we went to, it was Shasta, and that water is just like, as soon as I got a blister, I was like, okay, Mom, do we have any disinfectant? Because that water's really not clean.
Wait, the lake water?
Like, it's not that bad. It's just sort of like, it never looks blue. Unless, like, it looks blue when you look down at it, but it always is it's got this like kind of green tint. In a lot of the areas, since it's, it used to be a canyon and then we filled it with water. It's just there's a lot of dirt still floating around. Okay. And because a lot of areas are pretty shallow, and I just didn't want like dirty water and like kind of bacteria. And it's a really warm lake too, so yeah, stuff like that. Like, I don't know if there's actually anything to worry about, but I did worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not. I understand that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at Tahoe, you can look at a lake. You can look at the lake. There's not really multiple lakes there. If there are, I don't know of them. I know of the Lake Tahoe.
There is one other lake. It's much smaller. Okay. But yeah, Tahoe is the lake.
The big lake. And you can literally see the bottom from like pretty much any point. Like, there's this one hotel we like to go to, and there's a restaurant at the top of it. And as you look out at the lake, you can see the bottom the whole way through. It's like crystal clear the whole way. It's insane.
I was up there the weekend before July 4th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was the first time I'd ever been. It was very cold.
It's freezing.
The water, but it was refreshing. Yeah. And it was weird because I expected it to be like a mountain town, right? So like lumberjacks and flannel and swinging. Well, it's like that mixed with beach town. Right?
Yeah, it's exactly like that.
There's people walking around in flannel, and they've got like these giant beards because like they're mountain men. But then there's also, you'll look around, people are walking around in swimsuits. Yeah, and there's like surfer dudes and stuff like that. Even though there's not really like waves there. It's very tranquil. Yeah, it's very calm. But you can. Could probably do what you were doing on. Well, yeah, because I mean, with the whole wake surfing thing, you actually want really calm water. Because if there's too many waves and stuff like that, your boat will go over them, and then you get hit while you're surfing with waves. I mean, like, you don't get hit. It's not like they go like up and over you. It's more just like you have this really nice smooth wave, and then all of a sudden it's a really choppy, bumpy wave. Yeah. So when you're trying to get up towards the boat again or do some carving or anything like that, then you end up just sort of like
it's just bouncy and it's not fun. You can't really do anything. You have to just sort of really balance yourself at that point.
Yeah.
So Tahoe's probably a great place. And one thing I love about Nevada, because if you're on the Nevada side of Tahoe,
It's
which
the
is kind
casinos.
of,
I love gambling.
those are the casinos. Yeah. there's like one on the California side.
Yeah.
But and that's kind of one of the things I was gonna say is like the mountain side seems to be like the California side. Sort of the like alpine area seems a lot more mountain man versus when you get towards the like middle where the California Nevada meet and then the more Nevada side, the more like the most Nevada side, the South Shore, that's totally like casino area.
Yeah.
But that middle section, that's your beach town. It totally seems like a beach town when you go through that part.
Okay, yeah. Well, I was
At least that's how I divide it up in my mind. It's been a while since I've been.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with the area very well, but I spent the whole time in South Lake Tahoe. That's where I was staying.
Okay, yeah.
I was visiting a friend who's living there, and which was kind of cool because I got to see what the locals do rather than just be super touristy about it.
Yeah.
So there was one beach that we went to that he called Dog Beach. I think it had a different name, like an official name, but everybody there was calling it Dog Beach. And it was like it wasn't even a beach. It was like a sandbar that went out into the water.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then people would just like hang out there with dogs. There were a lot
I've seen that before, actually. I think we've been there once or twice. Not in the like sandbar. We just kind of like drove by and it's like, oh, that's really nice.
You can see it from the road, especially when you're up high. Yeah. No, it's really cool.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to say right now.
Yeah, it's Tahoe's fun. I never really like love staying there for too long, just because for me, unless it's the wintertime, there's just not as much for me to do. Because I don't go biking as much. I do a lot of street biking, but I never really do like mountain biking.
Yeah.
And I don't like the really cold water to swim in for too long, so I get kind of bored after a few days.
It's a very relaxed culture in the town.
Yeah.
Like very laid back. So because I was trying to spend more time around locals than I was around tourists.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the time we spent was just like we'd go sit on the beach, wade in the water, talk, and then when we were done in the water, we'd go up on the beach and read or listen to music or something like that.
That's something I feel like I could do. It's like because it always feels like whenever I'm on vacation, it's like okay, there's a lot of things we want to do. We gotta do them.
Yeah, we played a lot of soccer too on the beach. Well, not a lot, but we played some soccer on the beach.
Yeah, I like me and my dad always play football stuff like that. Well, not like real. We don't ever tackle or touch. We don't play touch football or tackle football. We just
you play punch football.
Yes.
You just punch each other in the face until you're on the ground.
Break noses.
If
no one's bleeding, then we didn't really play football. No, we'll just play catch. Sometimes we'll bring our mitts and our baseballs and stuff like that. Have fun. Cool. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the cool things about where my friend was working is they have like a lot of foreign employees, and I don't know what it's like an exchange, like a cultural exchange kind of thing. Cool. But it's not like they don't send Americans elsewhere. They only bring foreigners here.
Huh.
Yeah. So
usually it's a trade.
Yeah, you'd think, but there was so there were a lot of different people from around the world.
That's cool. I like those sort of like cultural like melting pot hubs.
It was really cool, yeah. And I remember it was so weird because I went down with one friend to visit this other friend. So we were packing up the car and saying goodbye and everything. And then they're like in the parking lot of where he was staying. And then across the lane, there was also a woman packing up or doing something in her car. I don't know what she was doing. But then while we were all talking, like an air raid siren went off.
Oh,
like really loud, like throughout the town, and we all heard it. We all kind of just stopped and looked at each other and like, what's going on? And then this guy came out running around the corner wearing a t-shirt from the place that they were all working at, and then jeans, and he was barefoot, and he runs out and he says, "What's going on? What's happening? what is that? Is that an evacuation? I saw a fire in Nevada today, but I didn't think it would be that bad. We got to get out of here." And he had an accent. It was very subtle, but like it was there.
Yeah.
And then we were all like, I don't know, we're not too worried about it. And he said, North Korea just announced they had missiles that could reach the West Coast yesterday. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he said, somebody turn on a radio or a TV or something. And I was like, okay. So I like grabbed the keys and went on and turned the radio of the car. And then like what came on was like, praise the Lord for he is cometh again. And
all right, so this is Revelation.
Yeah. So the guy was like, oh, okay, it's just the second coming. No worries then. And then he like started to walk away. And then
it's cool. It's just God. You know, killing the world, bringing us to heaven.
Exactly. So we just I turned off the car and we were like, okay, so it's all cool. And then the siren turned off, and then he was explaining that the reason he was so freaked out was because the last time he had heard it was when he was at home in Romania and the Russians were invading Crimea.
Whoa!
I know, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's definitely, your panic was definitely warranted. yeah, like that's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a very cool instance of learning about cultural events around the world.
Stuff like that's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's one guy I can always think of that just like talks to me in that sort of a way where you talk to him and it seems like just sort of this like normal dude, and then you really talk to him and it's like, whoa, he's been through a lot. Well, I guess there's actually like two guys, not a lot in like that sense, but it's just like they've lived really interesting and totally different from mine lives.
Yeah.
One of my friends is from Hawaii. I met him at a golf camp I went to in Palo Alto, and that is the most pretentious sentence I've ever said. I'll just say that right now. But he was really cool. And I like talk to him every once in a while, and it's so different how he talks about school and stuff. It's like some days our teachers will just get kind of bored, and we'll go to either our public swimming pool or we'll just hit the beach. We just kind of hang out, which is really cool. But also, I've heard that the Hawaiian educational system isn't the highest.
Oh, okay. I know nothing about it. So.
No, but yeah, he lives in I think he lives in Oahu, which is pretty cool. Okay. He just sort of like talks to me about like kind of like Honolulu, stuff like that. And
cool.
He never island hops or anything, which makes sense to me because it's like, if you're gonna take a vacation, don't just go to another island that is the same place as where you are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I've been to a couple of different Hawaiian islands and they're all kind of different, but it's like, yeah. But he was really interesting, just kind of hearing like what Hawaiian life is like. It's pretty much just like our normal North American life, except for they have a really nice weather.
Okay. Yeah.
I bet it's what Florida is like, except for with less Florida in it.
Yeah.
If that made sense to you, because Florida is crazy weird. But the other guy, he, I think his name was Alex. I don't talk to him much now, but I also met him at the same golf camp. And his parents live in Palo Alto, but he actually goes to one of those like, not exchange schools, but boarding school. He goes to boarding school in the UK. So he spends a lot of time. He's he's on the rowing team, and they went to like nationals. He's this like crazy athlete. He's incredibly talented at piano. Wow! And it was really funny because he was like really drawn to me for some reason. Like he was an incredible golfer. Yeah. He was really good at doing like everything he did. He goes and he plays like piano and guitar every once in a while in like Germany. He's been on tour a couple of times, and we just sort of like totally hit it off, like, and I was just like, whoa,
that's so cool.
This guy's awesome, and I'm like pretty lame, but he's really cool. And he's just telling me about all this sort of stuff. It was just those are my favorite people. Just those people where you get to learn, like, whoa, they are really cool.
It's kind of like they don't show it, but they're really
like,
interesting.
Honestly, if you ever saw either of these two guys, you'd just be like, well, they're just normal.
Yeah,
they're probably actually really boring.
There's a guy
like, wow, he's a white dude with nice hair. Never seen that before.
Yeah. That's
Turns out he's really interesting.
Yeah. Hawaii is. I've never been to Hawaii, but I know it's really pretty.
It is gorgeous.
And it's a very pleasant place to be, from what I hear.
It is my favorite vacation spot I've ever been on. I've never been out of the country. Yeah. But I feel like if I ever go to Italy or anything like that, which I will one day, I just don't know what day, that'll probably be my favorite place. But for now, it's definitely Hawaii. Like I've been to Nevada. I've been to New York. I've been to a lot of different states. I've been to almost Mexico, like just past San Diego, about to the border. But I mean, the best place ever, Hawaii, like by far. And Maui, out of all of the islands, has been my favorite. I've been only to Oahu and Maui, and I've been to this, like, I don't really know what to just. It wasn't really an island, but it was like in kind of this off sort of thing. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay. I don't know. I'm like thinking of I'm thinking of a totally different trip. Sorry, I've been to like Canada. Okay, so I've been out of the States, but I've been to Canada.
Okay.
But Hawaii is the best because Hawaii is just like there's so much you can do. I've always wanted to go to the Big Island now because the Big Island has snowfall in the winter some years. Like this year it was like a lot of snowfall, and you can drive. It's about a 5-hour drive.
Yeah, because the roads are so windy. Right? Yeah.
But you can it might be a little bit shorter than that, but you can literally snowboard during the day and then come back down and surf at night, which is the coolest thing.
That sounds really
like
cool,
it's a long day at that point because you're driving 5 hours probably at like 4 in the morning. You get there at like 9. You snowboard until like or ski whatever until about I don't know. Let's say like 2, and then at 7 you're back down and you're surfing.
Yeah,
and then you have dinner. Like, that's just so cool. Like, that's one of my dreams. And then plus that island has active volcanoes and everything, which is really cool. A lot of lava flow, which is really awesome.
That is
That's
really
one thing I've wanted to see, too. And the nice thing about having Hawaii being so active is you like really active volcanoes, because that means they're not building up a bunch of pressure. And that way, when they sneeze, it doesn't destroy everything.
Yeah,
It's just more of like they're constantly bubbling, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'd feel a lot more safe there than I would at, like, I don't know, what's another volcano that needs to erupt? Like, Yellowstone. That's one. That one really needs to erupt.
Yeah, we're not even... No, because we're not even safe here, right? Like, 1,000 miles away.
From ashfall, no. We're gonna get hit with ash, but chances are we'll probably get hit with earthquakes, but we won't get hit with any, like, immediate, like, lava flow or anything.
No, exactly, but it's not just... Like, it's not just the explosion that kills people, it's the, like, essentially nuclear winter that follows.
Yeah, it's probably going to lower the global temperature about 2 degrees for about 2 years.
That means no food for 2 years.
That's not a crazy amount, but I mean, when you think about the entire globe being lowered 2 degrees, that's pretty insane.
It's very significant, yeah.
Yeah, like, I forget what volcano... Oh, that was gross. Sorry. I forget what volcano it is, but there was another volcano out, like... I want to say it's out towards, like, New Zealand, but, like, sort of in that area on that side of the world. Mm-hmm. And when it erupted, it covered the entire area with ash. It literally took out the middle section of the island, and that island is now, like, there's a bunch of water. It's a big old crater.
I think I've heard of, like, this
kind of like Crater Lake. I forget the name of the place, but...
Okay.
When it erupted... it lowered the global temperature a whole degree, which is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Like, just because of all the ash and everything in the air, it was just reflecting the sun that much.
That's scary stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool and interesting. Like, wow, I can't believe the Earth can just do things like that. But
well, one of the things, like, climactic volcanic eruptions like that, they cause thunderstorms.
Yeah, they do.
Which I don't know how. And I've heard it explained, but I want to like learn more.
Well, one of the things is it's just because of the, like, density of all of the ash together and all of the friction, it can cause lightning strikes and stuff like that. It's sort of like so EMPs weird. Going off too. And another thing that happens is it will hail, but it hails rocks. Like pumice.
Oh,
it's really light rocks, but what happens is it starts raining, but it rains rocks.
Dang.
Which is really, and that's what was happening during that whole explosion too. Like, they had all these people trying to see, like, exactly when it would explode, and they were telling all of the natives, they're like, "All right, you have to get off the island. We gotta move. We gotta get."
Wait, so how long ago was this?
This was in I think it was in the 80s. Oh, I think it was Pinatubo. I think that was the name of it.
Okay,
it was insane. Like, it was an insane eruption. It was pretty wild. They have a lot of it on video of the storm chasers. Like, they lost power in their thing, and then they in their little booth that they had where they were watching it. And they were, like, trying to drive, and they had, like, zero visibility. Plus, there were rocks hitting their car as they drove, and it's just, it's really crazy.
Yeah, I've not heard of that.